Okay, we're just doing, we're multiplying and dividing algebraic fractions. They're called algebraic fractions because they're fractions with pronumerals in them. The rules for multiplying fractions, involving pronumerals is the same as the rule for multiplying fractions just with ordinary numbers. Multiply out the numerators, multiply out the denominators. However, simplify where possible by cancelling out first before you multiply, please. Not after you multiply. If you start doing that, you're going to end up with really big numbers and you're going to make life really complicated. Okay? If you're not comfortable with it, you just practice it until you are comfortable with it. So in the first two, what we do before we multiply, we check if there's anything we can cancel out between numerator and denominator, and we can't. There's nothing in common with 3 and 4 or m and n, so we just multiply out the numerators. What's m times 3? 3m. 4 times n is 4n. Okay, we look here and we can cancel out before we start. Looking at the 3 and the 6, you get a 1 up here and a 2 down there. Girls, you know the a's also cancel? A goes into A. And what I'm left with, all right, I'll make this a lot bigger so that you can see it. What you're left with is what? 1 over a half. Now you could have just multiplied out and gone 3 times A is 3A, 6 times A is 6A, and then do your cancelling. 3 over 6 is a half, and the A's cancel. Or you could cancel at the beginning before you start. Now, I know with this type of question, because it's relatively simple, you could have gone straight to that and then cancelled, but you need to start learning to cancel out before you multiply, because when we get to the last page and things get complicated, it really is a lot easier to do your cancelling out before you multiply, not afterwards. Looking at this one, girls, can you see anything that can cancel? The 5 with the 15. So what I might do, I'm just going to write it here a bit bigger if I can, to show my cancelling. So 5 and 15 with a 1 and a 3, because 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 15 3 times. What about the 8 and the 2? What goes into both of those? 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 8 4 times. Just be careful, the x's do not cancel, they're next to each other. So what have I got on the numerator? 4 what? 4x squared over 3. Okay, with the next one, let's do some cancelling. I'll need to make this bigger again. All right, girls, you've got cancelling between the 2 and the 4. You've got cancelling with the 9 and the 3. So what have we got? The 2 becomes a 1. The 4 is a 2. You might decide you just want to cancel out numbers and write the rest, and you'll cancel the rest in the next section. If it starts getting too busy and too full and you can't see, that's worse than doing, you're best off doing some cancelling in this step, do some more cancelling in the next row. If it's getting too messy, don't do all the cancelling in one go, because if you misread something, that's worse. You'll make a mistake. Let's just do numbers here. 9 becomes, 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 9 3 times. Let's just look at our numbers. We've got 3, we can multiply out if we want now. 3 what? X cubed over y. Now, I didn't cancel out the x's and the y's. It was just getting too messy. Over 2, what have I got on the bottom? Y squared. Now, what you could have done if you wanted, you could have cancelled out. See this x here with that one? You could have cancelled them out really easily to start with, but you didn't have to. Now you can see you still got 3 over 2. Girls, where are the x's and the y's left? What are you going to get on the top? Over y. Okay. Girls, if you wanted, like I said, you could do some cancelling here, but if it's too messy, leave it and do it next step. All right? Okay, dividing. What's the rules for dividing fractions? Keep the first fraction, keep, change, flip, not KFC, KCF. Keep, change, flip. Change, keep the first number, change the division sign to a multiply sign and write the reciprocal, or turn the second fraction upside down or flip it. So, dividing. Keep the first fraction the same, change the divide to a times and flip. So girls, you can do your cancelling now if you want, or you can do it later. I don't mind. Yeah, look, you don't have to. I can go 6m over 4n, and now what would you get when you simplify 6 over 4? 3 over 2. Or you could have done your cancelling here. Okay? The next one, 5x over 3, change the divide to a times and flip. Okay, let's do some cancelling this time. What have we got? Because I really don't want to do 45 divided by 3. See, that's when you start cancelling. If you can handle 6 over 4, you don't need to cancel in the first one. But really, 45 divided by 3. So 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 9 3 times. This is where I would be cancelling. You can cancel out your x's if you want. Yes? 1x from the top cancels with an x from the bottom. What have you got? 15 over 1, which is just 15. If you're not comfortable cancelling all out, you could have had 15x over x and then cancelled your x's in the next step. Can you see that, or it's too messy? I should use a different colour for cancelling maybe. So xy divided by 3 or over 3 times y over x. Does anything cancel, girls? No, the y's don't. They're next to each other, just an x. So much for that. Doesn't work. So an x from the top will cancel with an x from the bottom, or numerator, denominator. What's left? Y squared over 3. The next one, 6. Do not ever cancel until... Girls, you can't go cancelling while there's a divide there. The only time you're allowed to cancel, only time, is if there are multiplication symbols between. Not division signs, not addition signs, and not subtraction. Only multiplying. The rule for cancelling is only when multiplying fractions. That's the only time you cancel. Not if there's a plus sign somewhere in the middle. You'll get that a bit more next lesson when we add and subtract. So I've kept the first one the same, change the divide to a times and flip. Girls, you can cancel if you want. What have we got? 3 and 6. You're left with a 2 up here. 5 and 10. It's getting messy. You're left with a 2 there. I'm not going to do, just be careful, girls. Problem is, what have you got in the whole numbers? 4. 2 times 2, be careful. It's looking messy. What have you got with the pronumerals? You've got a squared b squared over ab. So you've got 2 times 2 is 4. A squared b squared over ab. Some of you probably cancelled out your a and b's before. To do that, you just cross off that 2 and that 2 and cross off the b and a, leaving just, do you know what I'm talking about? All right, so what have you got here? I'll cancel here. Watch what I'm going to do. An A and a B gets cancelled with an A and a B. You just lose the squared sign. Does that make sense? Aren't you meant to be left with one A and B on top? Okay, so it's 4AB. So girls, this is how you cancel out if you've got a squared and a normal term. You'd cross those out and just cross out the squared. Does it make sense? You don't have to. You can just write the answer. Denominator's 1, it's not needed. If the denominator's 1, it's just 4AB. It's just like 5 over 1 is 5. Okay, girls, I'm moving to the back page. Back page, I'm not adding and subtracting today. Continuing on to the back page of the booklet, multiplying some more algebraic fractions and dividing and doing ones with a couple in there. So any cancelling here, ladies? The 3 and the 6. So, and the 2's, you put 1's. Girls, please, when you cancel, put 1's in their place if they completely cancel out, because otherwise people think they're zeros. So 2 goes into 2 once. Okay, 3 and 6. 3 goes into 3 once, hence the 1. 3 goes into 6 twice. You can cancel out the b's if you want, but you don't have to. So I've got 2AB over B. What else cancels? The B's cancel and you get 2A. Okay? You could have cancelled out the B's there. The only time I recommend cancelling is if it doesn't get, of course, do your numbers. Leave the pronumerals to the next step if it's getting too cluttered. All right? Next one. What are you going to cancel out? What goes into, yeah, you can do the A squareds. That's nice and easy. What else? Yeah, 3 goes into 6 twice. 3 goes into 9 3 times. You've got 3b to the power of 4 over 2b squared. And now what do you get? Well, the 3 on 2 stay, and you get b what? B to the power of 2, b squared. Because b to the power of 4, remember b to the power of 4 means b times b times b times b over b times b. You're just crossing and cancelling out b's. Or you use the index laws, b4 divided by b2. Subtract the indices. Okay. Next one, you've got 3x squared over 8y to the power of 5. What do I do next? What do I do? Change the divide to a times and flip. Do not cancel out anything in those fractions until you've got a multiplication sign in between them. Okay, let's start cancelling, girls, because I really don't want to be putting 12 over 15 times 8. Is that, what's that? Whatever, 100, I don't know what it is. 100 something. What have we got? 1 and a 5 and a 1 and a 2. You don't have to do the pronumerals yet. What are we left with? I can see x squared y over, what are the numbers? 10, x cubed, y to the power of 5. Right, numbers are done. Let's simplify our pronumerals. Girls, x squared over, I don't want to see negative indices. Just think, x times y on the top, x times x times y times y times y times y times y on the bottom. Tell me where you've got your surplus. Do all of these cancel on the top? All right, the 10 stays there. Girls, where do I have an extra x? At the bottom. Yeah, and what do I put on the top? The number 1, that's right. Because you can think of it as the x squared, girls, watch, cancelling out with and leaving 1x there. Girls, it's because it's x times y. And if you think of cancelling out the x's, you're left with a 1. All right? Okay, next one. Girls, what I would do if I were you, I'd be working with the first 2, or you can flip straight away. So I'm going to go 21a squared over 32bc times 55e squared over 63ab. What am I going to do now? Times. Okay, when you multiply, you can do it in any order. But I've got multiply and then divide. You can't do it in any, you have to do it in the right order. But once I change this divide to a times and flip, then it's okay. I can multiply out in any order, or I can do them all together. Okay? So, for example, if you don't want to touch this yet and you wanted to work with this, you can work with this, get an answer, and then change that to a times and keep going. But why do that? I would just write it all out like that. It's all multiplying. It's like I say to you, 2 times 3 times 4, for example. What does that equal in order? Isn't that the same as 2 times 4 times 3? Which is 24. But if you're dividing, it's different. If there's a division in there somewhere, it won't work. So you can multiply in any order. You can add things in any order as well. But not divide and not subtract in any order. All right? Okay, let's start cancelling, girls. Girls, think of, I can see the 7 times tables with the 21 and the 63. What do we got? All right, girls, you know what I'm going to do? We'll work out the numbers in a minute. Let's just write all the pronumerals. What do we got? A squared, B squared, C, E squared, over pronumerals on the bottom. What have I got? A, let's go first. No, I'm multiplying out the pronumerals only. Let's go. A, B squared, C, E. Okay, at least I know I don't have to deal with those. Let's just start. So the pronumerals are taken care of. Let's just work with the numbers. 7 times tables. 7 3s are 21. And that's a 9. Good. Girls, this must be the 5 times tables with the 55 and the 45. Got it? What have you got? 9 and 11. And which times tables with 24 and 32? 8 times tables. 3 and 4. That's enough cancelling. Don't do any more. You can actually do more if you want. See this 9? So girls, on the bottom we've got 9, 9 and 4. And on the numerator I've got 3, 11 and 3. Now 3 times 3 is what? So those 2 3s cancel out with this 9. How are we with that? Okay, I do prefer you to cancel. However, on your calculator, you can work out the fraction bits if you want by doing one of the following. 21 fraction 32 times 55 fraction 63 times 24 fraction 45 equals, or you can go in brackets 21 times 55 times 24, close bracket, divided by 32 times 63 times 45, close bracket, equals, and you will get a fraction. If it's a mixed numeral, you must make it an improper fraction. But I'm not recommending that. You go there if you have to. So now that we've done this cancelling, 3 times 3 will cancel with this 9. So what's left on the numerator, girls? I've cancelled out the whole, what have I got? No, 11. 11 is left. That's all there's left in the numbers. And on the denominator, I've got 36. So whoever did it on your calc, that's right.
No, I just did 21 times 55 times 24.
Divided by yes. One is a bit tricky. You are not allowed to cancel anything because of this minus and this plus and this minus and this. Okay, I know there's a times there, but what can I do? I can factorize. Factorize out the 5m plus 30. 5 is a common factor. Bracket, what? You can't cancel because, good, over. Factorize the denominator. 3, bracket, minus 7. Good. Times. Factorize out, what times tables? 9 times tables. What have you got? M minus 7. This is looking good. Over 45. Now, girls, everything is now multiplied. I'll tell you why. Because you can cancel out whole brackets. For example, if I've got m plus 2 over m plus 2 and they are in brackets, for example, I can cancel them and put 1s, provided they're in brackets. It's you're cancelling out that whole chunk. Okay? So because the m minus 7 and this m minus 7 are in brackets, they can cancel. Got the idea? That cancels, that cancels. Okay, there's some more cancelling, girls, with the 5 and the 45. What have we got? 1 and 9. Great. Girls, there's more cancelling if you want. No? 9 and 9. Can you see it? So I did the m minus 7s. I did the 5 and the 9. Sorry, no, what have I just done? Yeah, I did the 5 and the 45. Can you see I've got the 9 and the 9 as well if you want? You don't have to. But then you can do the 3 and the 9. So what about the 9s? They're the same. No, you'd get a third. I'm going to get a third. So girls, look, I can do 9 and 3, but why when I can do 9 and 9? That's a better cancel. Because if you do 9 and 1 and 3, 3 and 9 cancel too. So girls, 9 and 9. So what's my answer? What's left? M plus 6 over 3. No cancelling. So girls, this 6 and this 3 don't cancel. Why? Because of the plus sign. But why can these be cancelled? Because between the 3 and the bracket is a time sign. Okay, let me go over here. I'll do this one because I'm running out of time. Do you have that, girls? Okay, the next one, let's do some cancelling. 5 and the 10 and the 3 and the 7. So what have we got? 2xy over 7x. Look, I could have cancelled the x's, but it was just getting too messy. What am I left with? 2y over 7. So here I can cancel the x's. Okay, the next one, cancel. The 4 and the 12 definitely. Alright, we can just stop there. 3x squared y cubed over x cubed y to the power of 5. Okay, where are your extra x's? The 3's on top. Deal with the x's next. We've got an x down the bottom. What about the extra y's? Where are they? How many? That's it. Got it? Why am I doing that? Because x squared means x times x. X cubed means x times x times x. And I'm cancelling out 2 of them. The next one, what do? Change the divide to a times and flip. I definitely do not cancel anything until I've done that. So, girls, start cancelling 15 and 25, that's 5 times tables. 12 and 28, that's 4 times tables. So, 5 times tables, you get 3/5. 4 times tables, you get 3/7. That's enough cancelling. What have I got? 9. Multiply out my pronumerals. I don't mind if they're not in order. X squared y b c over 35 a b x y squared. Now let's cancel. 9 and 35, I don't think there's anything in common. No. 9 over 35. All right. A on the bottom. What about your B's? Cancel. There's a C left on top. What about the X's? 1 on top. And the Y's? 1 at the bottom. Done. Girls. Next. Okay, girls, let's cancel here. Equals. Come on, 7 and 14. 1 and 2. 1 and 3 for the 5 and the 15. Girls, you can do the 3 with that 9 now if you want. You don't have to. If that's, you can do 2 with the 16. Girls, I'll just write out what I've got. Are you going to do any more cancelling? I've got m times 2p times 9n over n times 3m times 16p. Now keep cancelling. M's, a p, the 3, and the 2 and the 16, and the n and the n. 3 over 8. Okay, in this last question now, we've got 25a squared b over 18a minus 27b divided by this second fraction. Remember, keep the first fraction, change the divide to a times and flip. Now what we're going to do here, we can see that we can factorize out these expressions. A common factor between 18 and 27 is 9, so pulling out the 9, we'll get 2a minus 3b. So we've factorized out that, just checking that it equals that. 18a minus 27b is correct. The highest common factor here would be 6, because the 12 and 18 are in the 6 times tables. 6 times 2a will give you 12a minus 3b. So we've got 12a minus 18b, yes, that works, over 35ab squared. Now that everything is with multiplication symbols, we can cancel out. The 2a minus 3b's cancel to give 1. We can also do some cancelling with the 25 and the 35 because they're both in the 5 times tables. And we can also do some cancelling with the 6 and the 9 because they're both in the 3 times tables. So what we're left with, we'll just stop there for a minute. 5 times 2 is 10. A squared b over 3 times 7 is 21 ab squared. And now we can, there is no further simplification with the 10 and the 21. Simplifying out the a's, we get a on the numerator and a b on the denominator. So that's the end of that question.